Greetings to all the viewers and listeners. Welcome to IILM Talks. This is the first student-run podcast of our college, and I'm extremely honored to be present here with the Pro Vice Chancellor of our college, Dr. Nihar. I'm Kinjalk, your host, and I hope you enjoy this interaction that I have with him. Sir, I know this, at the risk of sounding like an interviewer, I'm going to request you to introduce yourself to the audiences because you see, we go to institutions, we go to several interviews. Everywhere we go, we are asked to introduce ourselves.
Yeah.
I'm really curious, how would a person like you who has had experience of maybe giving thousands of interviews and maybe taking them as well, how do you introduce yourself?
So I would like to say that professionally you can call me the Pro Vice Chancellor or whatever. But essentially, if you want to know what I really want to do or what am I working towards is trying to understand how is it that we can make the next generation of students learn better, right? And with the changing face of technology, with the changing needs of the students, with the changing psyche of the students, we need to really reinvent how higher education is delivered. So my job is to interact with students, to interact with the industry, to interact with academic regulators, and try to figure out how is it that we can make learning interesting and learning more open and accessible and inclusive in the country.
So generally what I've seen is that everyone is ambitious about doing something great in their life,
Yes.
right? But it's usually very personal. It's like, I want to be this, I want to be that. But you're working towards a social cause, that I want the education system to be better. I want students to learn better. What's the inspiration behind that?
I think because my journey within education personally was not that great, as I always like to proudly say that I've always been an average student. It was not like I was meritorious. But the only time I won a merit award was during my MBA, because that was the only time I found out that this is something that I wanted to learn. So my question to myself was that why did it take me 21 years to figure out what I wanted to learn or what I was good at or why I should. Then the question was, why could not my educators recognize this knack for management in me early? Why couldn't my parents tell me that instead of wasting time doing engineering, which I was clearly not wired to do, why didn't you go for a BBA or why didn't you go for a BMS degree? So I'm not blaming anyone, right? It's not my parents' fault. They wanted the best for me. I'm not blaming the educational institutions of the time. Perhaps they were too focused on the fact that they knew what needed to be taught. Nobody was thinking for the learner. Nobody was thinking for the student, right? That my role is to help the student go into the direction and the career that they will excel in. Right? So there was no collaboration between the parent and the institution and the student to really come on one platform and talk about, okay, what is right for me? And how is it that 10 years down the line or 5 years down the line, I can make an impact in this world? That was not the intention. The intention was that you should get employment, because you should be better than your neighbor. That's what the intention was. So when I had such an education that I stumbled from, let's say, till my 10th, I was fine, everybody does roughly the same thing. Then I was asked to go into science, physics, chemistry, mathematics, geology, right? Except geology, I hated everything. Now, after that, they said, all right, go for engineering. Now, clearly somebody should have smelt what's in the air and said that, look, if he struggled in physics, chemistry, maths, then don't ask him to go into engineering, right? That too into IT, wherein you need a lot of abstract thinking, you need to do coding. And the only time I sat in front of the computer was to play Max Payne or, Return to Castle Wolfenstein. So clearly that was not there in me. But I did a lot of drama in school. So not drama in the sense, I was not doing drama in school, but I performed a lot of drama in school.
Okay, theatre.
I was very much into music. I was a drummer in my college band, and we used to write a lot of original songs, although they were terrible. But that was what I used to do. So I had all these things going on with me. I used to love to take leadership roles, like I was the class representative or I was the secretary of a club, and I really liked associations and groupings and trying to get things going. It's just that probably there was no ecosystem to recognize that and say that, look, man, you are better off in a management program because that's what you are wired for. That's what you have an aptitude for. That's where probably you can figure out yourself. So when I came into education, I came with a realization that education need not be restrictive. Education need not be dead serious, okay? And I quote Sadhguru always that, the only time you're dead serious is when you're dead. So, the rest of the time you should be alive. Why does education have to be that, ye karna hai, ya to ye karna hai? Nahi. Undergraduation, see, I spent a lot of time abroad, studying as well as working in academia over there. And one thing that education abroad does is it allows you time to find your way. So undergrad programs are supposed to help you find your way, right? It is about discovering yourself. It is about keeping your eyes and ears open, influencing others, getting influenced from others, trying out different things. So what does education become? It all becomes very multidisciplinary, wherein you get different platforms to play upon, right? Like right now, yesterday I was sitting in my MBA class, wherein my students were going through a theater workshop which was connected to business communication. And I was like, fantastic, where was this when I was doing my MBA, right? So it is about getting you platform. Now you are doing this podcast. Maybe this is your platform to become a big influencer. So it's about what opportunities you get, who do you mingle with, who do you become friends with, how they influence you, what you do together, how you then impact the society together. That's what education is supposed to be. You learn through that. You don't learn in the four walls of a classroom. Today you sit in front of an AI, GPT, it'll teach you better than what I would teach you. But it won't give you the experience that a university will give. That's my mission, that make learning fun, make learning more meaningful, make it accessible to as many people as possible, and make it in a way that the person finds themselves and creates impact.
So sticking to that point, actually that makes a lot of sense. The question here is, you mentioned that you've got experience working abroad and studying abroad, and through all these experiences, the question is that then why do you come here? Why do you choose IILM? Why do you choose this space to bring that revolution that you want to bring?
Okay, so personally, you are asking me why did I come to IILM? Okay, so good question. See, I spent 10 years in academia abroad. Now, that was my training ground, right? That's where I did my PhD, my master's. I always tell that the PhD program, the way it is taught in India, because see, anybody who becomes a faculty in a college or a university has to have a PhD normally. The PhD program for me over there was the training ground. I looked at a lot of aspirational professors over there. Like I met people and I sat into the classes of people who I wanted to be like. Right, I can name them. Professor Jonathan Deacon, who was the first supervisor of my PhD. Phenomenal guy, okay? Phenomenal guy in the sense how he brings the classroom to life. I met through his network. I once went to an Academy of Marketing conference wherein I saw Stephen Brown, who's a professor, and also he's written this book called Breakthrough Branding. If you've not read it, please read it. And he came to the keynote of a serious thing called Academy of Marketing conference, which is the marketing conference in the world. And I was quite switched on because I had won a best paper award in that conference that year. So I was first row and everything. And suddenly this guy comes with a cloak around him. The whole thing goes dark, okay? The big hall goes dark. There's smoke. And then the thing comes up on the projector saying Kotler is dead. And Kotler is the keynote, okay? He's the guest of honor or whatever for that conference. And then he just turns back like how those vampires do. And I was like, wow. He within those 30 seconds, he captured everybody's attention. And he started with a very clear premise. Kotler is dead, okay? Now, this is breakthrough. He already got through me. What are you talking about? You're killing the guru of marketing. And then he went on to very nicely explain how segmentation as a concept may not apply to evolved societies anymore. It's more about tribal marketing, wherein it's not about homogeneity, it is about heterogeneity. It's about postmodernism, wherein juxtaposition should happen and fragmentation should happen. And this exists. So it was fascinating for me that, this is what can make learning fun. This is, and not at the cost of knowledge, okay? I understood what he said very, very well, as much as what I would have understood if someone as a dry, as a professor wearing tweed would have explained to me. So, that is the time I really understood that how is it that the art of teaching can be developed. So when I came to India, I joined IIT Ghaziabad, one of the top business schools in the country. There, however, we saw that there was a huge gap in terms of how we approached education. It was very serious. It was very siloed. It was very much, driven by a process. And while that was good, it has its merits. I'm never going to question it. And I had an extremely enriching time there. But in a university system, you need to be more fluid. You need to let other subjects affect you. So if I'm a marketing professor, I need to let psychology affect me. I need to let sociology affect me, right? I need to let anthropology affect me, because how am I going to know how to convince people to buy a product or engage in a service without the study of how groups of people behave, how civilizations evolved, and how people think individually and as a group. So multidisciplinarity is what brought me to a university system back, because this was what used to happen in the UK. Right. I spent as much time in the faculty of creative industries as much as I spent time in the business school. And very interestingly, my business school was called Faculty of Business, Law and Society.
Okay.
So you can imagine, business was just one department over there, right? And we had courses in law. Society means social sciences, humanities, liberal arts. So that was the missing piece. And NEP was talking about, okay, you have to become multidisciplinary. So I was like, great, I've got a playing ground now. We can come in and make this truly multidisciplinary, right? So that was the intention behind coming to IILM. Here I found a great team, Dr. Akhil Damodaran, Dr. Ashwini, both of whom we all worked together to try and ensure that this interaction and influencing of subjects among each other is happening. So like the BBA program we run, it is not run by the business department alone. It has subjects from social sciences, from humanities. So in your first year, you might suddenly find yourself sitting in a psychology class as a business student, and you might wonder, what am I doing here? Well, you will know, right, what you're doing here. So that's the intention, that's the passion with which I'm here.
Wow. That was answered really well. This brings me to the point. Now you talked about economics. You talked about the amalgamation of different subjects, right? It's a slightly different off-topic question, but it's regarding the academics of this entire entrepreneurship era that we are entering, or we have already entered. The question is that, do you believe that entrepreneurship as an idea is sustainable in India? Because you see, if an idea is not sustainable, then it's just an illusion of, a temporary illusion of relief that we are offering ourselves. So do you believe that entrepreneurship is sustainable in India?
I'd like you to remind you of this quote that I always remember. See, George Bush once said that the French don't know what an entrepreneur is. What this gentleman did not know, that entrepreneur is actually a French word. Okay, so the word had French origin. So entrepreneurship is often misunderstood. Okay, what is entrepreneurship? For me, if you can think critically, what do I mean when I say think critically? Like, we had this event yesterday on campus. HCL Tech was here, and their corporate vice president was here, and there was this young guy they brought in, okay, who works as a part of their global engagement team, who said that he's from Tamil Nadu perhaps. Okay, so this was his first time in Delhi, and he said, I went to eat samosas like we all do, and he said, the moment I went there, while he was making my samosa, mere dimag mein kya chal raha tha? I was asking him, so how much do you sell this eat samosa for? So how many do you sell in a day? And I'm thinking about ki uska OPEX kitna hoga, what profit he must be making. He is making this much money. Actually a BBA student makes that much money after you. So that kind of mentality. So he's critically thinking, right? What is critical thinking? Critical thinking means you think about something from different perspectives. You should be open to thinking about things from different perspectives. It's like that. If I show you a three-dimensional star, okay, imagine I'm holding a three-dimensional star in my hand. Now, if I show you it from the front end, what do you see?
The star.
The star, right? But if I just tilt it now, along its axis. Now what do you see?
Curved V.
Think again. It's a three-dimensional star,
Okay.
which when held vertically, you
Right.
see a star. But
Yeah.
when you put it horizontal, what do you see now?
No idea.
You see a rectangle. Think about this, okay? So you see a rectangle. Now that's critical thinking. So depending on where you stand, the same thing might appear differently to you. Business issues, societal issues are just like that. Okay, you have a certain upbringing, I have a certain upbringing, I have a certain mindset, you have a certain mindset. When we all start working in an organization together, what restricts us from, working in a very aligned way and realizing things without any bottlenecks is actually this difference. But this difference does not need to be a hindrance to creation of value. This difference should actually help me understand how is it, oh, Kinjal, you are seeing this as a star. Yeah, I'm seeing this as a rectangle. And I learn about how you see it as a star and you learn about how I see it as a rectangle. Now, imagine the synergistic value that we bring to an organization. Because from your perspective, you might see a problem differently, you might come to a problem differently. I might come to a problem differently. So we break down the problem. So that critical thinking leads to problem solving. So when we say problem solving, what do? We break down a problem and we solve it independently. That's what we do in design thinking. We don't go to solve the grand problem. People are trying to solve climate change. If I give you, this problem, solve climate change, you can't. You have to solve the broken down parts of the problem. You have to solve the way we use water, the way we recycle, lots of things. And as a sum of the whole, right, when you solve those individual parts, then you solve the grand challenge, right? So critical thinking and problem solving is important for us all to have, whether we get into entrepreneurship or not. You think you will work for a company and they won't like a critical thinker or a problem solver? You will. You will work for the media industry. You will still need a critical thinker. Journalism, look at what it has become today, right?
Right.
At one point of time, journalism was supposed to have that effect on masses about helping them think critically, helping them about thinking of issues impartially, without bias, from all perspectives, left, right, center, right, anywhere on that spectrum. But today you are hearing, views rather than news, correct? So now that critical thinking is being curbed. So if you are a critical thinker and a problem solver, it's your choice whether you want to go and create value inside a company or whether you want to create a startup, right? So don't treat entrepreneurship as like, when I talk to a lot of students, I don't want to go into entrepreneurship. I need a job because I don't know whether I need my money. I need surety in life. And this is what I again repeated, once upon a time at IMT, I had this chance to speak to Ashnir Grover. I was interviewing him. I was in the other chair. And he said that, it is that injection milta hai aapko. Har 30th of every month you get that injection. Salary aa jati hai. Then all your dreams are like numbed down. Then again that numbing injection on the 31st of the other month. Again your dreams are dumbed down. See, what you need to become an entrepreneur, and if it is a sustainable idea, it is a sustainable idea. Because you see the entrepreneurship in India is everywhere. You go outside the compound of the classroom, you see entrepreneurship. Right? They have seen, identified the needs of the students. वो वहाँ पे दाल चावल नहीं बेच रहा है, वो मैगी बेच रहा है. वो भी तो entrepreneur है. Right? He is creating value. Right? So,
but here's one thing, sir. You see, in the economics of critical thinking nowadays, that AI is here. Like every student that I know personally, we've been using AI extensively.
Good.
Right? For everything that we do. Now we are not allowing ourselves to think critically, right?
No, this is again, look, you ask that AI to create a wonderful storyboard. Who is asking it? Who is asking it? You are asking it.
Yeah.
So who is giving the input? You are giving the input. It is how creatively you give the input that the output will come. It's just that the doing part the AI is doing. वो अपना मसाला मिला रहा है उसमें. बढ़िया है ना? That's what we want. We want technology to work with us and do some of the work for us. But that does not take your creativity away. Where does it take your creativity away? But Beethoven was creative, right? What did the instrument do? He played. The instrument, did not say, ki, okay, I know what Beethoven is playing, I'm going to improvise on this all by myself. That was the limitation of the instrument. But now what is AI doing? Now you imagine the same Beethoven playing the instrument, and the instrument is now having a thinking saying that, oh, I get this symphony, I'm going to improvise over this. And then like Beethoven is like, what? When did that happen? That's what AI is going to do for you. But you have to start. You have to start. The creativity comes from you. It will get enhanced through AI, right? And yes, people are talking about super intelligence and how it will then start thinking on its own. We are yet to see it. See, let's not worry about what does not exist.
Yeah,
but right now, you all have to be the input to the AI. As creative an input, the better the output. So if you sit in a classroom, 5 people using AI, you will all use it different ways. The result will not be good always. Result will always be relatively better or worse. So that's where your creativity will be the determinant of whether it is relatively better or worse.
To continue upon this actually, now see, here the stakes are not that high, but in jobs the stakes are really high if we actually inject ourselves every month, right? So that being said, we see layoffs being happening everywhere, like in the world. All major companies, such huge layoffs they are doing,
True.
right? And it's because of AI. No matter what excuses that they give,
Yes.
it is because of AI.
Yes.
So how does that hold up?
Okay, so there are some things that AI is going to do. That's clear, okay? I'm not going to kid anyone about it. That repeatable, mechanical, mundane tasks are going to be done by AI, right? AI will also do some intelligent tasks, like for example, it is already diagnosing diseases better than some of the doctors. It is teaching better than some of the professors, thank God. But I'm saying it will happen. It will happen that some of the jobs will be lost. But a majority of the jobs need us to reinvent ourselves. Like the jobs which are lost are going to be those jobs which only require humans. Like, right? So for example, if a company feels that Nihar can create a product on his own using AI, great. Okay. But you still need someone to execute it for you. Is the AI going to execute it? Right? One product. It can invent the product. It can give you the whole idea. It can create a system, a process around it. But actually then prototyping it, then manufacturing it, then distributing it. The machine will work alongside it. It will make my manufacturing process more precision oriented, faster. It will make my distribution more streamlined, more efficient. It will make my marketing more targeted, right? But I have to be alongside that journey. It is not going to take and send the product all by itself, okay? I'm still saying that it is about how we learn to work with AI. And if you learn to work with AI and you reinvent what you want to do and add value to, and you tell a company that I'm going to add value because there is this 1 + 1 = 3 effect when I work with my AI, the company will stand up and take notice. So your competition will be about how good am I and how well I can work with my AI versus how good you are versus how good you can work with your AI.
So it's about adaptability.
It is about adaptability.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yes. But certain jobs will go. There is no doubt about that. But this has always happened over the years.
Right.
I mean, tell me, every industrial revolution, there were jobs lost.
It's one of the harsh realities of
Yes,
life.
it is. It is.
Taking it to a lighter note, can we have a small rapid fire round?
As long as it's not what happens in that Coffee with Karan, I'm fine.
Absolutely not, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to ask you about your personal life,
Good.
but I'm going to ask you about academic maybe references or recommendations. So if you
Sure.
were to recommend 3 books that every student or person must read, then what would those 3 books be?
Okay. One is, because I mentioned Stephen Brown, I would say The Marketing Code. It is a beautiful book because he has written that book like the Da Vinci Code.
Okay.
Okay. And wherein all the characters of Da Vinci Code, whether it is Robert Langdon or Sophie, they are all actually real marketing professors. Okay. So they have been adopted as personas, right? So it's a great fun read, The Marketing Code by Stephen Brown. It's an old book, but a classic. The other one was just lying somewhere around over here, Elephants and Cheetahs by Professor Saral Mukherjee, who is phenomenal. I had the chance to bring him to IMT Ghaziabad for FDP with the teachers. And that guy really, left an indelible mark on me. I mean, the subtlety and the nuance with which he understands not only operations, he's an operations guy, but then the art of teaching is phenomenal. Okay, that book is a must read. And if you, I'm not going to talk all about academics. Okay, so some non-fiction should also happen. I mean, some fiction should also happen.
Yeah.
So the third one I would say is my favorite author is Frederick Fawcett.
Okay.
Rest in peace. He wrote this wonderful book called Icon, which is based on the how Soviet Union broke down without a shot fired. And it's fantastic. It's a spy novel. It's a huge book. It'll take you about 6 months to read at the pace at which you guys read. But it is worth reading. I think these three books definitely. Yeah.
Thank you for your recommendations. Now, since you mentioned that you were in a band and you used to be a drummer, your top 3 favorite bands of all time?
Led Zeppelin. Led
Okay.
Zeppelin is my favorite. I think they were fantastic. They were all inventive, 4 equal musicians who pushed the boundaries of, and they were multidisciplinary in a way, by the way. There was influence of rock, there was influence of jazz, there was influence of blues, heavy influence of blues, and they amalgamated it to create a wonderful product. So Led Zeppelin. Second, I think is something that nobody will get excited, but that is the first artist I really loved, and that is Bryan Adams. Okay, because I got introduced to music because of Bryan Adams. And think about this: I'm a guy growing up in the 90s. If you don't like Bryan Adams, then something is really wrong with you.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think you are uncool if you like Bryan Adams, but I think he's a phenomenal guy. At the age I was in his concert in Gurgaon last year, still running around the stage, jumping about. Fantastic. That's the way to approach life. And one band I would mention, Indian, is Thermal and a Quarter. If you have not heard of Thermal and a Quarter, please listen to them. They're a Bangalore-based Indian rock band, very original, but don't expect Indian rock to have sitar and tablas. That's what they say, that we are an Indian rock band. We are Indians playing Western music, not with West Indian instruments. So check out Thermal and a Quarter. And fourth one, honorable mention to Them Clones. I love Them Clones. They're once a Delhi-based band, fantastic. I still love them. They reunited last year for one concert in Piano Man. But yeah,
If you were to join one of these bands, whose band would you
I
join?
would love to join Them Clones because Them Clones really played the music that I like.
If in case this reaches them, then please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You'd love to have him.
Yeah.
So, top 3 movies.
Top 3 movies. Okay, I've really stopped watching movies, which is really sad about me. But I think one of the movie that I really liked is The Dead Poets Society. I think that movie touched me very, very deeply. Again, because maybe I relate to that kind of a philosophy, right? The other movie that I really loved is Inception. Just the beauty with which it is made, the complexity with which it is made, it is amazing. Inception as a movie is fantastic, and one should be entertaining. So my entertaining choice is the Ocean series. I really love the Ocean series, and all my favorite actors are in there, and I think I can watch that trilogy any number of times I want.
So, imagine you are 20 again, and what is one thing that you would do every single day?
I think when I was 20, I started my first startup, right? When I was 20. So I love to do things every day. As I was telling you, so I might be average academically, but as a person, I might not be average, right? So I used to love working with people to do more stuff, thinking beyond oneself, thinking about like my first, the startup with which I worked with my colleague. We wanted to bring down the cost of cat training dramatically, and that's what we succeeded in doing. We used to offer it for 9990. I still remember it, while a lot of our top competitors were offering it for 25K, 35K. And this made, again, going back to the philosophy that I was talking about, this made cat training more accessible, more inclusive, right? People who could not afford it could do it. And people got into good colleges, people got into GIMs and KJ Somayyas and whatever. That really gave us joy. So I think, so at that time, that was what I was doing in my 20. But today, if I was in my 20, I would think I would spend more time learning technology every day. Right? I think that is one area which I think I could have invested more time in. I spend more time, I think maybe working more about the business side of things or the people side of things, the process side of things, but not as much as the tech side of things. So I think I would spend every day learning technology, some new technology every day.
Okay. This
Yeah.
brings me to the last point. If there's one thing, imagine that you're standing at a stage where the audience is the entire world, and you're supposed to just say one sentence, or maybe it's the Oscar stage, you have a time limit. So, what's that one thing that you would tell everyone?
I would just use two words, just chill.
Okay.
Because nothing is so serious, you know. I mean, serious things might happen, but in the long run, just relax. Just relax. I know it's hard to. I'm not relaxed all the time, but that's what I keep telling myself. So I'll keep telling you the same thing.
Thank you so much, sir. It
Thank
was
you.
an honor talking to
Pleasure, and all the best for your podcast. I hope to see many more interesting guests other than me coming here. And I wish that, and I hope that this team can really take this podcast at a national level.
So, thank you so much to all the guests for sticking around till the end. It was really fun having this conversation, and we'll keep bringing to you new episodes. This is IILMnary Talks. This is where conversations begin. Thank you so much.
Thank you.